young man to Seattle, where, as good as the Seahawks are on offense, they are lacking that on defense. Yesterday, they addressed the problem, acquiring Pro Bowl defensive end Carlos Dunlap from the Bengals, hoping he can give the league's worst-ranked defense some help. And with that, we welcome in a guy who knows a thing or two about tearing up defenses, Mr. Greg Jennings. Greg, good morning to you. Do the Seahawks need their defense to improve dramatically, or is Russ good enough to carry this Seattle team no matter what?
Well, they definitely need their defense to improve dramatically. But if they don't, I believe Russell Wilson is capable, more than capable, of carrying this team. And he's proven it. Offensively, they average the most points in the league. When it comes to explosive plays, they're right there, tops the league. They have the most 20-plus yard touchdown passes in the air, as well as touchdown passes over 20-plus yards on the ground. So they know how they have to beat teams, and that's offensively by putting points up on the board. However, when you struggle defensively on third down, as well as struggling offensively on third down, it puts a lot of pressure on Russell Wilson. And the one thing we saw this previous week against the Cardinals was him do something uncharacteristic of what we've seen all season, and that's turn the ball over.
Yeah.
He cannot turn the ball over with this defense playing the way that they play, because it's not complimentary of what they do. Now, they don't get a lot of stops, but they take the ball away. They're top 4 in the league, top 5 in the league with takeaways, which gives Russell Wilson and that offense extra offensive possessions to put the ball on the board. So they do complement each other, weirdly enough, and it allows them to be where they are, sitting atop the NFC West.
Greg, every time I get an opportunity to let everybody know my preseason predictions, I'm going to take it, right? So I picked the Seattle Seahawks to make it to the Super Bowl. I picked Russell Wilson to be league MVP, all right? But I don't believe Russell is strong enough and good enough to carry this team to a Super Bowl, because that is the goal. Now, can he win you 10 games by himself the way he's playing? Absolutely. They need this defense to be better. Through 6 games, they're the worst ever in NFL history. So insert Dunlap. I like this. He is disruptive. He's not a guy that's going to come in and get 3-4 sacks a game, but he's a guy that can be dominant versus the run. He's a guy that can disrupt you in the pass game. He's also a great guy in the locker room. I love this pick. You also have Damian Snacks Harris, who's probably a week or two away from also coming and joining that defensive line. Jamal Adams coming back from that growing injury any day now. Those guys playing together can easily take this team from the worst with Jenna Sid to one of the best, not one of the best, but a good defense, a capable defense. Now, here's the issue, though, Greg. It's like you playing against the Chicago Bears for 9 years. You played against those dudes twice a year. They did the same thing over and over and over again. They played cover 2 and they played 3, and that's what they did. And everybody knew it. Their problem in Seattle, outside of personnel issues, is that they've been running the same defense for years now. And we all know exactly what they're going to do in every single situation. The difference between Seattle compared to the Chicago Bears is this. You had Brian Urlacher on the side, okay, in between possessions saying, look, we just said Pepsi, Pepsi, Pepsi. When we said Pepsi, Aaron Rodgers, Greg Jennings, Donald Driver, everybody heard it, and we went to cover 2. Now they're on the sideline thinking that next time we call Pepsi, it's going to be cover 2, so this time Pepsi is down. I'm going to call Pepsi, and when they think we're going to cover 2, we're actually going to 3. And that's why when you say, when we're talking offline, like, man, this defense, they perfected it, but it was Brian Urlacher being able to adjust in those moments. If you're going to run the same defense over and over again, then you got to have that adjustment. You got to have that quarterback, that Peyton Manning, that can get you into different plays when you understand what the offense is about to throw at you. So the two issues in Seattle is personnel and scheme. They got to find a way to fix this, because they have Russell Wilson in this offense that is hot and it can lead you to the Super Bowl.
I agree with you to a degree. I don't mind what they do defensively. It's the personnel. If you don't have the personnel to back up what you do, it doesn't matter what defense you try to insert. It doesn't matter what scheme you try to draw up. you're not going to be effective because you don't have the personnel to actually execute what it is you're trying to provide an offensive look. So I understand what you're saying. I agree to it to a degree, not fully. The Chicago Bears had personnel across the board at all three levels who understood how to do their job. And I think with the acquisition of Dunlap, he's going to apply the pressure. He's going to get in the face of the quarterback. He's going to allow Shaquille Griffin and all those guys to be able to cover a little longer. Bobby Wagner, opportunities to get off of the offensive linemen so that because they're covered up now by defensive linemen. It all plays together, and that's what they're not doing well. But Russell Wilson has been able to put the ball in the end zone, and quite frankly, with this being the #1 point scored ever in the history of the National Football League in 2020, that's all that matters. Put the ball in the end zone.
So, listen, everyone loves how Russ is playing, and I want to give Brandon credit for believing that Pete Carroll was finally this year going to let him cook and let him show the whole world that if given the opportunity, he can put up these types of numbers. But I also want to give Wilds credit for continuing to sound the alarm on this defense, because the Seattle Seahawks are 42 inches away from being in last place in their division. 1 yard against New England, 6 inches against Minnesota. And you might say, well, Nick, but they won those games. Fine. Let's just look forward. If they lose Sunday, and they're only 3-point favorites, we could walk in here Monday morning, and they would be currently on the outside looking in of the expanded playoffs. The margins are not big. As great as the offense has been, they have won. I know they lost a heartbreaker against Arizona, but they've won some very close games leading up to that. And the defense has to get better, Wilds, because we saw for the first time all year, Russell Wilson made some mistakes. And as great as he is, that's not going to be the last time he made mistakes, and they lost. The NFC is too deep and too good outside of the NFC East to be able to get by and get through the postseason with a legitimately awful half of your team, which is what the defense has been. Now, I don't think Carlos Dunlap is a huge difference maker, but I do think Jamal Adams could be. He was supposed to practice yesterday. They expect him to play this weekend. That, to me, is the bigger addition, Wilds, getting Jamal Adams back from injury.
Yeah, so there's two things that I don't think we're ever going to hear from Russell Wilson. One, him say Mr. Unlimited again. And two, have a post-game press conference where he's like, you know what? I had a bad game. Thank goodness for our defense. They bailed me out. We're on to next week. Every game, they've given up 25, 30, 31, 23, 26, and then the Cardinals scored 37, they finally lost. So, Greg, you're a champion. I don't think when you won your ring, it's like, you know what? We need Aaron Rodgers to play perfect every single game. You gotta, everybody's human. You gotta have a little bit of wiggle room, a little margin for error, so Russell Wilson can be a normal person, and you guys can, and they can still win games. Or right now, he doesn't have that luxury.
Wild, you're exactly right. And what I'm saying, my main point is the defense does just enough. I know numbers, stats say that they're terrible, they're horrific, and yes, they need to improve. However, when we won, our defense wasn't tops in the league, but they created turnovers. They gave our offense, who was the strength of our team, opportunities to put the ball in the end zone.
All right, well, big divisional showdown for them against the Niners on Sunday. We'll see how that defense shows up. Time now for drawing a blank. Bo Jackson's claim that he would average 350 to 400 yards a game in today's NFL, getting some traction now. Hall of Fame linebacker Kevin Green co-signed Bo's take on Twitter. So, Nick, need your take here, buddy. Kevin Green co-signing Bo's 350 to 400 yards a game in today's NFL take is blank.
All right, let me take a deep breath.
Give us the line, Nick.
Okay. Greg, thank you. Old people be lying. First of all these retired athletes who demand to do, back in my day, it was so shut up. Yeah. Remember how yesterday I said some people should be told to shut up? Kevin Green, shut up. That's first of all. Second of all, and while you all might agree with that, you're not going to agree with this. This is my most polarizing sports opinion. Bo Jackson, wildly overrated. Bo Jackson, an amazing all-time video game football player. His actual career, pretty good. I mean, he played 38 games.
Leaving.
He went over 150 twice. And now we're saying he's going to go 350 to 400. Greg,
retract because of your hot take, Nick.
Retract your
everyone's
statement.
leaving me?
Greg just left.
I won't retract. Brandon, you have
Greg,
as many 1,000-yard rushing seasons as Bo Jackson did. Everyone's leaving?
Greg.
Me and you,
All
buddy.
right, Jenna, it's you and me.
Nick.
I'm telling you right now.
We're down
Look
3
up the
anchors
numbers.
because of your ridiculous takes.
Listen.
We can't lose anchors like this.
Nick, you started something, right? And you were off to a hot take, and it was good. Because, look, the guys that paved the way for me and Greg and my elders, we want to respect. Thank you so much. But this is absurd. This is absurd. Come on, this is like Steph Curry averaging 100 points a game. So, Nick, no, you went too far with the whole Bo Jackson is overrated. Come on, man. Greg, I don't know how you feel about it, but that was just way too much.
Speaking of a solid run game, that'll be the Browns' focus Sunday. So they get ready for the first game without Odell.
Games. 8.
Back after this.
He went over 150 twice.